Okay, these are the notes for Chapter 5, Socializing the Individual. And we are going to begin with a question for you to think about. Would you be you if you were born with a disability? What would that mean? Would the person you are, the 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 person who is does the things that you do, would you be the same if you were born with a disability? Okay. Would you be you if from birth you were isolated and weren't able to communicate with others? These are all questions that have to do with how you become you. So here are our targets for section 1. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to go that far. There we go. First, we're going to identify the 4 main factors that affect the development of personality, and we're going to explain how isolation in childhood can affect that development. So, we begin with the term socialization. What does that mean? Socialization is a lifelong social experience by which people develop their human potential and learn culture. Pay attention to this word lifelong. This is something, it's a process that people go through all their lives. Doesn't matter, it's not necessarily something that you think about, but it is something that happens as you move through your life. Okay. So, we're going to focus in first on personality development. And what does that mean? First of all, personality development is the sum total of behaviors, attitudes, beliefs, and values that are characteristic of an individual, of you. What is your personality? What's your attitudes, your beliefs, your values? That defines your personality. Our personality traits determine how we adjust to our environment and how we react in specific situations. That is, no two people respond or act exactly the same. Some are similar, but our personality traits are individual, and they will determine how we will respond if you have a car accident, or if you find that someone close to you has died, or if your job suddenly disappears. How will you respond? How will you react? I just said several or 3 sad things, but we think about it in terms of positive too. How you respond at the birth of maybe your first child, or how would you respond when you find out that you've gotten a big raise at your job? Those type of things are all part of your personality traits. And we have our own temperament and our own way of interacting with others. Again, we don't respond, we don't react to others the same way as everyone else. Okay, and once again, this develops, your personality develops over a lifetime. Who you are right now is not who you will be as a young adult, will not be quite the same as you become middle-aged, as you become older, and even into elderly. Your personality changes over time. Okay, so what factors shape your personality? Okay, you have a journal 1, that you need to do. Go to Moodle and respond to the question. If you have any questions, see me. Okay, moving on. The first factors that shape personality development is first heredity. These are those physical traits, aptitude, inherited characteristics, biological drives. You have no control over them. They are what they are because you've inherited them from your heritage, your family's heritage. They come from that. Okay. Your parents also are a big factor in developing your personality and how you will respond. Parental characteristics such as age, education, religion, and economic status play a factor in your personality development. The age of your parents when you were born, what kind of education they had, what kind of education do they want for you, their faith or religion, and also their economic status plays a role. factors again that shape our birth order. Where do you lie in your family? Are you the oldest? Are you the youngest? Are you the middle kid? And those do affect how your personality is formed. If we talk about being the oldest, you might be the oldest, and that all the responsibility, or at least it seems like it, much of the responsibility of maybe raising them the kids lies on your shoulders. Or they expect you to be the sibling that's perfect, and so on. Middle kid oftentimes feels like they're left out. They're neither the oldest nor the youngest. And the youngest sometimes or oftentimes is accused of being the baby and the favored one by the parent. And all of this affects your personality. In addition, cultural environment also determines the basic personality types found in society. What that means is where you are, not only physically but culturally, determines what kind of person you might be. If you are somebody that is in an environment that has very few people in it, then your interaction to people might be very different. Excuse me. The differences between a desert environment or a rainforest environment, those things play a factor in how you are affected, what your behavior might be. So cultural environment is it well, I almost forgot the cultural environment, like a Western environment where you are part of an environment that's very technologically advanced, or an environment that might be very third world, or not as um, uh, advanced with technology as a Western environment. So those environments, your environments do make a big impact on who you become. Now, as a child, and hopefully you guys read chapter 5, and understand the idea of isolation and what that means. And research shows a healthy cultural environment is essential for a child's full development, meaning they have more than a um, uh, just a small part of the world where they might be isolated from everything else. A child needs to have that rich, full environment. Isolation can lead to severe effects, such as causing children to waste away and die, or to have stunted development. Let's move on to section 3, or 2, sorry. So this explains how a person's sense of self emerges. Identify and describe the theories that attempt to explain the process. As you can see here, I love this picture. What matters most is how you see yourself. Here's this kitten looking at itself but seeing a lion. And that's true. Is how do you see yourself? And much of what yourself is how you see it, what you believe yourself is. Okay, moving forward. Through interaction in social and cultural environments, people are transformed into members of society. So you need others around you to form that um, personality or that sense of self. The interactive process through which people learn basic skills, values, beliefs, and behavior patterns of society equals socialization. So the opportunity to interact, this is an important word, to interact with people, to learn about the things that are important, like skills, values, beliefs, are what makes up the idea of socialization. And it also means what, or identifies possibly what yourself, how you see yourself. 3 theories of socialization. They are, one is John Locke, called the tabula rasa. Another is Charles Horton Cooley, the looking glass self. And then we have George Herbert Mead, the role taking. So let's look at the first one. John Locke, which is the I cannot say that. Tabula rasa. Okay. Sorry. All right. John Locke believed that as a baby, an infant, at birth, you have no personality. And the development of personality begins as a result of your social experiences, the amount of time you spend with your family, others around you. And infants then can be molded into any type of person. So as you experience your socialization, or as you experience interaction, that's the word I'm looking for. As you experience interaction with others around you, you begin to mold or become molded by those interactions. Charles Horton Cooley says it's a kind of a looking glass self. He believes, again, since infants have no sense of person or place, children develop an image of themselves based on how others see them. This is very similar to the one before. People act, though, this is the difference. People act as a mirror, reflecting back the image a child projects through reactions to the child's behavior. So people and their interaction with them allows a child to see themselves. So this is a pretty interesting graphic here. I think it does pretty well to describe the looking glass self. As you look at it, you're looking at it from how you think your parents might see you, your mom and dad, or whoever is raising you, how they might see you. They might see you as that perfect kid, that little angel. But your girlfriend, hopefully you're thinking your girlfriend sees you as the person with big muscles and strong, okay? Now your older brother sees you as, if you notice, the muscles are now longer, they're flabby now. So that might be how an older brother sees you. And then how an ex-girlfriend might see you is maybe that little devil. Okay, so it's you're thinking and considering how others see you. And not everybody sees you as the same. This is a three-step process. We imagine who we appear to others. That's based on their reaction to us. We attempt to determine whether others view us as we view ourselves. And we kind of set up our personality based on those how they view us. We use their perceptions of how others judge us to develop feelings about ourselves. Okay, although this process starts early in childhood, it continues throughout life. Individuals continually redefine their self-image as they alter their interpretations of the way they think others view them. So we don't stay static. We change as time goes on, and based on how we think others see us. All right, now George Herbert Mead, role taking. People not only come to see themselves as others see them, but they also take on or pretend to take on the roles of others through the imitation, play, and games, meaning that these games or things that we do begins to, I want to say this, we do these things in order to fulfill how others see us. This enables people to anticipate what others expect of them. This allows you to think about in advance what things you might need to do in order to be a part of a group, or be a part of, or fulfill the role you think somebody thinks you have. Okay, section 3. We're getting through this. All right. Most important agents of socialization in the United States are the 9 that you see here. At least this is what the book says. We're going to look at these now, and then your other target is explain why families and education are important in social institutions. Okay, so we have, if you look at these, all 9 of these. Now these are important. Take a close look at these. These are all things that these particular groups or agents, if you will, how they respond, or I'm sorry, not respond's the wrong word, how they influence your personality, your socialization. Family, peers, religion, government, media, work, ethnic background, clubs, school. All these are agents in our socialization. Okay, we're going to look at a few here. Family being the most important agent. Right. Family, and in this particular one, is something of a thought about how important families can be in terms of a child's development and adjustment. Okay, a loving family that takes the time to care, excuse me, produces a happy, well-adjusted child. Parental attention is very important. You need to be um, aware and being with and bonding and encouraging your child. And I think of this, sorry, I think of this as you need to be thinking about this because it's not too long before some of you may have your own children. You need to be thinking about what does that mean? Are you prepared to become that parent? Household environment will stimulate development, will help that child become who you hope they become. You considering how are, your reaction to or your place in your society, your social position. And we're not talking about being rich or anything like that. We're talking about, how you respond within your position. Is it a positive? Uh, are you proud of who you are? And are you, do you have, I'm trying to think of a word here. Do you have patience and um, appreciation for race, religion, ethnicity, class? Are you someone that can be more than just a very negative person? And in a loving family, you learn about those things. Another agent of socialization is peer group. Your primary group is obviously composed of individuals who are about the same age, same kind of social beliefs and all. They are particularly influential in pre-teenage and early teenage years. You will see as time goes on, although a peer group is important, it becomes less so than in this time frame. But they do play a role in who you are and how you are socialized. All right. Developing sense of self goes beyond family with a peer group. You're learning to step beyond that family. Young and old attitudes change. You begin to have a gap between you as maybe a young person and that older generation. Peers often govern short-term plans, while parents influence long-term plans. Your peers think about what you're going to do Friday night. Your parents think about what are you going to do as you become an adult. And with that, this anticipatory socialization is practice towards gaining your desired place in, and you're beginning to anticipate that. You're beginning to think, are you going from graduation to college, or are you going to a career, or are you going to the workplace? What does that mean? And you begin to think about those things, anticipating those things. School also plays a major role. Right. School, you experience diversity, and within that, you are looking for the first time at gender and racial issues. In probably Preble County, you don't necessarily see a great deal of racial issues, but you will experience those as time goes on. Hidden curriculum. Those are the informal or covert lessons, like, for example, in the hallway, freshmen need to learn how to behave in the hallway. Well, you as seniors, juniors, and seniors, you teach them those lessons. These are not lessons taught by the teachers. These are lessons that are taught by your peer groups, by your friends, by those who are around you. You also begin to experience the first bureaucracy, rules, rules and schedules that you will forever be expected to follow. Gender socialization begins also here. You begin to maybe have boyfriends or girlfriends. You begin to have activities that tend to be more male or female. And then also, let's face it, there's also the issue of some of the in the last few years, issues with gender in changes in that are being experienced in today's society. All right. The last one that we're going to look at is mass media. Books, films, internet, magazines, all of these play a big role. However, the interesting thing here is this. They are not face-to-face. Just a moment. They are not face-to-face. Hang on. I'm sorry, I had to stop there for just a moment. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is mass media. And we're looking again at the idea of how this is not a face-to-face socialization. Okay, I'll give you the last little bit of information, and I'm going to close out there.